little bit on Dunn.
Okay.
That where the guy's throwing. I mean, is it bad what you saw before the shoulder? You know, as far as
No, I mean Mike's. I mean, I remember Mike in Miami, right? Early done. It was 93, 95 power. I mean, a lot of fastballs, and like a lot of pitchers who get into their part of the career, it's they make adjustments, and that's where Mike is. He's making some adjustments, in his game and how he's going to get his outs. So, that's a pat on the back to Mike for. The curveball's going to come into play more, the slider, the two-seam fastball that has sink to it. So he's going to pitch a little bit more than maybe early Mike Dunn in Miami.
Do you put Jake McGee in that same category?
Uh,
Because he was
no,
such a fastball dependent.
and he's still fat.
is.
Yeah, I think he's still that guy. Yeah.
and with Dunn, do you look to before this camp is over, go back to back, or do you still
Yeah.
want to be a little careful?
We'll be a little careful, but we'll go back to back.
I mean, everything you see is indication that he's healthy.
Yeah, the recovery day after he throws, what he's reporting to us that his arm feels great. All the conversations we've had, the conversations, in the weight room, in the training room, that he feels great. So that's a great sign. It's very, very promising.
With your relief corps just entering the season as a manager, obviously the loss of Bonamino opens up a spot for a setup man. Do you enter a season kind of going by committee with who's the hot hand for that role, or do you?
There's a little. I mean, even last year, we didn't know how Otto was going to throw, right? Based on the previous year. So, those things play themselves out on any given night. Now we don't know who's going to be available based on previous games, right? We'll have everybody available the first game. Everybody's going to be rested. We'll have a full bullpen, and then from that day on, the whole world changes. So, and then obviously by performance, we'll see. Who we use, but pretty clear indication that Wade. We'd like to have Wade pitch the last inning, and I think that's a part of a good rotation when you have 5 starting pitchers. You have your starter that night, who's one of your best 5 pitchers in the organization, one of your best 5 starters, and then at the end of the game you have that guy, and then you have 7 innings in between, and you hope that the starter covers a lot of those 7, and then you get closer. Then you use the other guys.
Would it be fair to say that Scuttleburn's performance last year, particularly last 2/3 of the season, earned a lot
Yes.
of trust from you,
No doubt about it. That's fair to say.
and simply because of the results, or was it more than just the
Both,
numbers?
everything. Just it isn't just based on numbers. It's the poise, the conversations in the dugout, his maturity, his fielding his position, controlling the running game, his pitch quality, his obviously the statistical performance is important, very important. So that's that's a guy that we projecting to be a big part of our pen, and a full year of Son Juan.
Yeah. By the way, how was
And
he-
Son Juan threw great for us last year,
Yeah.
right? There's one game against the Giants. He had a rough one, and I'd have to look to each of his outings, but he was pretty dependable.
Does his experience as a closer, granted most of it was in Japan and Korea, though, kind of figure into the evaluation?
Closes some games
for
the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it figures into that.
I was thinking
Yeah.
the 8th inning for that.
Scott Oberg has a lot of minor league saves.
Mhm.
That all figures in.
How much?
Do you remember Dale Thayer?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, that was a great.
Here we go.
Buddy, how much?
Who's the left-hander that Hop hit that one off of?
I'm
Joe
sorry?
Thatcher.
Oh, Joe Thatcher.
Joe
I
Thatcher.
get him confused.
Good friends with Aaron. I don't know about good friends, but friends with Aaron Rodgers. Saw him out front of Vaughn's with Aaron Rodgers one off day in San Diego. No.
The hot homer.
No,
What night was that?
that was Friday
There was
night.
a night homer opposite field into the,
That was Peavy on his way to a Cy Young versus Franklin Morales.
Yeah.
It was like 0-0 into after 7.
and there was
We didn't score off Franklin Morales.
the biggest shock of all was opposite.
I think we had a chance against Manny Corpus like in the 9th, bases loaded, like no outs or something. We didn't score. Hey, the things you remember.
That's true. When you, in your mind, and I know you're not gonna tell us, do you have a set idea of how your bullpen, I'm not saying, I know it changes every night, but what roles are gonna be filled?
Yes.
And the second part of the question, are the results from this camp gonna influence that to a great degree, or is that
The first part, yes. Right? Do I have something in what I think is the right from? Yes, I have certain scenarios that line up when everything's going right. And yes, when the season starts, based on what I see in spring training, it does affect that. Sure.
What, in your 2 years watching Trevor, not as a player as much, but as the person and in the clubhouse, has it been intriguing at all?
Yeah.
He seems to have really grown.
Yes. Again, I think his first year I'm not even sure his first year in spring training. Was that 16 and he made the team, or was he in
No,
camp
he was
in
in
15?
camp 15.
Okay. And then 16, he made the team.
Right.
So when I got here, Tracy had already had a couple springs under his belt. But these last 2 I've seen, I mean, just in my 2 years here to this year, much more confidence in the clubhouse, more vocal, much, I think, more comfortable around me, coming up to me and sharing what's on his mind and his thoughts about either baseball or something, a question that he might have about off the field. So, I think he feels, I think, more at ease, and that's, that's a natural thing.
I just said to him, he's the one guy who's at his locker every night.
Yeah.
He said, well, somebody has to take that responsibility.
Right. Sure.
he and I on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
does he talk about that let you know
That's
that
personal.
he's a winner?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like that, if things get nasty, he's going to be upfront with you.
I think that because he always, in his conversations, it's always about us and we. And what does that tell you? It says it all, right?
I mean, I'm not trying to compare him to the guy, but not everybody can take that role. Like, I mean, you said you had McCray in Kansas City.
Right.
Probably as strong as anybody I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Yeah.
And
And
George liked having McCray
yeah,
there, right?
sure.
It's not an easy role for
When I got, Mac had, he had, I don't know early Mac,
Right.
I mean, Mac was in and around the Big Red Machine, right? Wasn't he?
And then that's when he came over and, he taught George.
Yeah.
But
So,
he's a special guy, right?
yeah, there's, there, and you have those guys. You need those guys to be there every day to take on, so much responsibility, whether it's, and the most responsibility is, obviously, performance and the expectation of performance, but yet, all the before game requests or conversations post game with the media. I think it's just, taking on the responsibility and knowing what your role is on the team, that's expected for one of the big boys, for one of the lead bulls.
Peter O'Brien said to me once in Texas, he goes, you've been with Baylor, you've been with McCray. What do I have to do to become a leader? I said, you can't.
Right?
I mean, you can't. It's not
Yeah.
something you say,
No, it just,
this is what
I
I
want to be this. No, it just, Yeah, I don't think I think you just got to act like it, right? I mean, it's, I think in your mind, it's, you might want to be that guy, but how you be that guy is just to act it. And you got to act it like all the time. You can't just act it part-time, right? Is that, I mean,
Yeah,
it's got to be all the
it's part
time.
of you.
Yeah, it's what you are. Now you can aspire to be that guy, but hey, man, and some guys just have it naturally, so they don't have to work at it.
I mean,
It's just-
Todd could never do it.
Yeah.
Cargo was that way. Certainly with
I
us.
thought so too, in his own way.
Yeah.
Well,
and the-
Cargo for us, he was
Yeah,
hard.
and the guys too, because he was consistent every day.
Yeah. I mean, if Todd went bad.
And you wouldn't think it from the outside, or just because he sort of, he's just, not that Cargo was unassuming, but because you think about it, it's an everyday thing for hours and years. And you just got to be yourself. Same in this position, or a coach, hey, listen, any job, right? It's got to be hard not to be yourself.
That's gonna be difficult.
Oh man, right? And hey, and some people, hey, listen, heads up.
You surprised Cargo hasn't signed with somebody yet?
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.